black people are not the original inhabitants of South Africa, which, in fact, they're realizing that now. When they claimed that they owned all the land, the original inhabitants, of whom there are not many left, said, excuse me, we were the original inhabitants. You guys were migrants here as well.
This man is trying to tell us South African people that are black, they are foreign in their own country. I don't know, like, even in the apartheid books, this doesn't make sense, bro. Like, come, let's react to this video together, because I'm confused, yo.
The original inhabitants, of whom there are not many left, said, excuse me, we were the original inhabitants. You guys were migrants here as well, which they were. Okay, the original inhabitants of Southern Africa are called the Khoisan. In the West, the Bushmen are Khoisan. Hottentots are Khoisan. But you can't use those words anymore. You now have to call them Khoisan. Okay? All right, now, and they were the inhabitants of the whole of Southern Africa. So the whole of South Africa, at one stage, were Khoisan. The black people originated in what is now Cameroon. That's where they...
Hold on, Khoisan aren't black?
No.
What are they?
They're a completely separate ethnicity all on their own. In fact, if you look at them, they're kind of yellowy. They're a light brown yellow color, right. But they look more Asian than African. They do not consider themselves African.
Interesting.
When the white guys arrive in Cape Town, so 1652 is when Dutch guys arrived there. At that stage, you could have divided South Africa almost exactly 50-50, what's now South Africa. The western half of the country was entirely Khoisan. There were no black people there. None at all. Only Khoisan. So we're Cape Towners, all that area, Khoisan people. The northern part of the country did have black people. They'd started arriving, and they were still migrating.
How long have they been there in the northern?
Well, it's a moot point, and people have debated it. It would seem that black people had probably started arriving in the northern parts of South Africa maybe 1,000 years, something like that, about 1,000 years before whites got there, right up in the north, okay? And they've been slowly moving south because it's an empty space. I mean, one of the things about Africa is it's very empty. Up until the 1950s, Africa was very empty. It's the population exploded because white colonists, the naughty white colonists, put hospitals there, and there's been this huge population explosion since the 1950s. But Africa was really very empty up until then. And so tribes moved around and just occupied new empty territory. So the guys coming down from the north, who are called the Bantu, it's called the Bantu expansions when black people came out of the Cameroons, they'd been occupying South Africa and moving systematically south, down the east coast of South Africa.
They were pastoralists, am I right?
Yeah, they were pastoralists, yeah. Whereas the Khoisan were hunter-gatherers. They were like aboriginals, okay, so they hadn't become pastoralists yet. The black guys are migrating down from the north and settling, doing exactly what white guys are doing. So white guys, the Dutch guys from Cape Town, were settling by moving eastwards. So the white guys are moving from Cape Town eastwards, and the black guys are moving down from the north. And they met at a place called the Fish River, which is now in the middle of South Africa, at a place called, it's still called Border. Everybody in South Africa calls that part of the country the border, even though there's no border there at all anymore. But there was a river called the Fish River, which is where blacks and whites first encountered each other. And then it started 100 years of warfare between whites and the Xhosa, who were the tribe that they met there. So, okay, so at that point, that would have been in about 1700. So whites and blacks first encountered each other in 1700. Okay, so whites had already been there for 100 years at that point.
So this is the problem I have about British people. White people, please, European people, man. Sometimes just save yourselves the embarrassment. And also we must understand white people. Yeah, white people, listen to me. We must understand we should come to a conclusion. It's 2024. We are past even the 20th century, darlings. You cannot want to come here on the internet to rewrite history. So what was Mandela? Was Mandela a foreigner in South Africa because it was for the whites, and the Khoisans gave birth to who? The whites? Because I mean, if black South African people started migrating to South Africa in the 1950s, and that is when the South African black person started being recognized as South African, what was Mandela? When I tell you this black girl was too stand to speak, I kid you not. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Notskunda Esther. If you are new here, yes, baby, we are back. Y'all, let me tell you. I had to come in with my afro because this man, y'all tell me what you think in the comment section. Like, I feel like he's trying to rewrite history. Like the audacity, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He literally thinks he ate. Y'all, South African people, go down in the comment section and let me know because, hey, I'm a fake South African. I am Ugandan. South Africa only accommodated me for 7 years. So I cannot come here and pretend, oh, I know everything about South Africa. Oh, I know everything about the Khoisan people. Oh, I know where South Africans originate from. Oh, I know where white people originate from. If black people were not the originators of South Africa, who was? Because he said, we were. And I was like, whites? Whites where? Are you trying to say like when Netherlands came into South Africa, when the Dutch did their thing in South Africa, are you trying to tell me that actually, I feel like he's trying to say that when the Dutch he's trying to say that when the Dutch came to South Africa, that's when black people started migrating into South Africa, and then they got South African citizenship, and then they started mingling and giving birth, and then that's when they became South African. Because did he just say South African people, black South Africans started being recognized as South Africa in 1950s? Like, no, because I'm counting in my head, 1950s, so we switch it to 2000s. Those are 50 years, yeah? Now it's 2024. So from the 1950s until now, we are looking at approximately 75 years. Mandela died when he was 93. And he was born in the what? In the 20s and the 30s? So what was Mandela? So did the Khoisan give birth to Mandela? And was he white? He was a black South African. Because if you're trying to tell me, I don't know, like even in the apartheid books, this doesn't make sense, bro. Mama Winnie, Abo Brenda Fassie, what were they? No, because if South Africa... I am so sorry I'm laughing, but this is not funny because he's actually trying to say that the Khoisan kind of like give birth to the whites, and then the whites give birth to what? The black South Africans. Okay, if it was not the whites that gave birth to the black South Africans, and black South Africans started migrating from different African countries, and then that is how they became South Africans. So are all black South Africans foreigners? Zulus, you are foreigners in your country. I am so sorry, but this is funny, y'all. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I can't. I just can't. He's making his statements sound like, we thank God the Dutch came to South Africa and colonized and caused apartheid. Because if there was no apartheid, we was never gonna find out if a black man exists in South Africa, which is weird because for apartheid itself to be happening or to have happened, it means the whites, the Dutch must have found black South Africans in there because like, where is the racial injustice? Like in all of this, if black South Africans did not exist in South Africa until the 1950s, yeah, oh my God. Yeah, tell me what you think in the comments section for me to you at this point. Like, I know, like, I bet you he's not trying to tell us as foreign people that come to South Africa to start calling South Africans foreigners. You and don't tell me to go back to my country when you are also foreigner in your country. You South Africans are foreigners in your countries. Yeah, release me. Tell me what you think about this situation in the comment section. From me to you, The history books that our kids are going to read, they are going to be mixed match. Masala. Mixed match. Katogo. Tokpaki. I feel like the mixed match of history our kids are going to learn is githeri, beans, literally, and maize. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.